Hello to you all, and my kindest greetings to all you lucky people to be owning and sailing in our Young 88, the best yacht, shall I say, in the world. Of course, yes, yeah. Now you might want to know why I'm here and not over with you. Well, unfortunately, um, my doctor thinks that I shouldn't be travelling that far at such a quick time, especially when they what they might do to me when I get there too. So you just never know, do you? Anyhow, it's as far as the pit water is concerned, I can picture you all there, yes, and I can almost picture the pit water. Um, Yes, I've sailed on the Pittwater, but not as often as I'd love to have done. I sailed on Buckle Up and sailed up outside the heads and back and so on, but I've never actually raced. But it's a wonderful place, and it's so it's so nice with all the sandy beaches, even on the inshore side. I wrote an article which was published in the October issue of the 1980 Sea Spray magazine, in which I advocated the Young 88 and another boat which I called a Rocket 31 as being very suitable for this. So anyhow, all this was a sprat to catch a whale. I hope that I get somebody that might be interested, as we always do. We publish a design and hope somebody gets interested in it, and you may end up with an order. Um, so here we go. A year or two passed, and then somebody took an interest in the Young 88. The end result was that I sold the plans to some people, and the boat started, and it happened to be Greg Elliott. You know Greg Elliott. His sister and brother-in-law were interested in getting a Young 88 built to these plans. Now, at the same time, Roger Land and his friend Owen Lockerbie both could see the potential in this boat. They also got keen on it. They decided that that there was a future in this boat, that they could go into business building these boats in permanent fiberglass, as mass production boats. So there was an arrangement made where Greg built this hull, and he built the hull in Roger Land's factory, and using this new method of construction, which I believe was the first yacht ever to be built using that particular method of construction. That method has become almost universal now. The first boat was built and it was launched, and the first one to be sailing was Paddywagon. Now, Paddywagon was belonged to Ross Field, who, as you know, is a very well top-class yachtsman of world renown now. Now, the first time I saw the first Young 88 sailing, Paddywagon, a friend of mine, Gary Bagent, who was who was an editorial in Sea Spray and a well-known photographer, came out with me in my 12-foot tin boat with the outboard motor, and to see this boat for the first time and see it sailing. Well, as it happened, it was the last few days of August, and you can just remember that that's about the coldest time of the year. And here's Paddywagon sailing along, looking pretty terrific, we thought. And Ross was unhappy about something, and it turned out that he was afraid that the propeller hadn't folded properly. So what does Ross do? He takes off every inch of his clothing and slips over the side in this freezing cold water and frees the propeller and jumps back aboard the boat. Yeah, I mean, modesty didn't come into it, of course, but it was quite a demonstration in many ways than one, if I might say so. But they went from strength to strength, and one of the greatest things that the Young 88 Association, which had been formed by then, was they brought in a rule, which was that every boat had to come out of those fiberglass moulds. Of course, I couldn't sell any more plans, but that didn't worry me. That didn't worry me at all. I was just pleased to see more boats being built, and at that, the fact that the 88 Association has made that rule has kept the boats as close to the strict one design, which is one of the major factors in its success, apart from the fact that it's a very good boat anyhow. So, I'm often asked the question, what would you do if you were to design the Young 88 again? My first answer would be nothing. The Young 88 is as near, in my mind, the perfect answer to the various parameters that it was intended to fill, which was to be a comfortable boat with standing headroom for average people, that is, and with a boat that was, above all, was pleasant to sail, could turn on a sixpence, which is a great safety factor when in a crowded anchorage and all the rest of it, and above all, it had to look nice and be nicely in proportion. So, to my way of thinking, the 88 is a one of the smaller keel boats that everybody can, most people can afford if they want one, and it's a pleasant little boat to sail, and it can stand all sorts of weather conditions. It'll sail, and like all the rest of the boats, it'll sail. The more people you stack on the weather deck, the faster it'll sail, but that applies to just about every yacht. You've only got to look at some of these 90-footers, and you can't count the number of crew that are sitting on the rail. Sometimes I look at them and I wonder how on earth do they feed all those guys? Well, I've always been interested in high speed sailing. I designed the first racing catamaran in New Zealand. In fact, it was built to beat your Aussies, and so it happened that it did, and it beat your. This is the unrestricted 12-foot cat, and it beat the rest of the fleet, including New Zealanders, by such a big margin, about half an hour around a course, that they banned cats, and cats were looked on with great suspicion for quite a long time. For the but as for foiling, well, that's a different thing, and I can see that the ultimate in fast sailing is going to be foiling. With flying rigs, with kite type rigs, not necessarily kites, but kite type rigs, where the wind takes the weight of the kite, and where the kite is tending to lift the boat clear of the water, and where the problem will be to keep the thing in the water rather than lift it out of the water. And this is, I think, it is the only form of sailing with kites. It's the only form of sailing that doesn't rely on weight for its power. So, wonder. I wonder about this and I wonder about that. Well, you think about things and why this happens and why that happens, and very often you realise something that you've known all the time, but you didn't actually realise it. You know, I could talk forever about all this, but you know, you guys, somebody might go to sleep, so I better stop it now. And I must say, wish everybody a wonderful regatta, and I'll be very keen to hear what happens, and may the best boat and best crew win.